Brooke's journey was rough from day one. We were 2 months early on her due date at the time, and we had to stay not only those 2 months, but about a half a month after that before she was able to go home. When I first came home from the hospital, early on actually called me when I was coming in my door the first time. And I remember I had a baby and a heart monitor and all these documents of specialists and doctors and therapists that we need to see. And I thought, oh, I don't have time for another thing. And I wasn't thinking at the time of how much early on could help me, just only that it was another thing I had to do. So I had declined them initially. Well, flash forward from there to about Brooke's 18-month checkup. The doctor had explained to me that they thought that she might have autism and that they were going to make a referral for a diagnosis. And she had told me that waiting for a diagnosis could be lengthy and I may want to get a hold of local services in the meantime. And so that's how our second interaction with them came about. I felt like my first participation with Early On was probably resistant. I think that I was not the ideal candidate at first. I was upset that my child was having to go through this, or that this was even something that was going to be her story. But then once I caught on, my interaction with Early On, I think, was very involved. I think it has to be very involved. You can't just work with your child while Early On is there. You have to work with your child after Early On leaves, and in the middle of the night, and on the weekend, and it's a lot of work if you want to see results. Early On helped my family in a lot of different ways. I think mostly the help was training me to think in a different way. They helped build my brain to almost anticipate what Brooke might need or what she might be thinking, so that way I can help her, because communication was not always there with her autism. So they taught me how to know what she means and maybe try to get it out of her in this other way, and to help her become a better version of herself. Brooke is doing fantastic now. She is really thriving. She's doing great in her Gen Ed's preschool class currently. She loves to dance and sing, and she has friends, and she can even read some words, spell some words, write her own name. She's doing absolutely fantastic. She is finally potty trained, and that took us forever. And she is just so smart. My best advice to new families is easy, that you should start Early On as soon as possible, as early as you possibly can. We started Early On pretty early at 18 months, but what if I would have started at birth? They could have possibly indicated some factors that she might have been behind on, and maybe I wouldn't have been so blindsided at the 18-month well-child visit. Instead of being angry, I could have been prepared and ready to go. And so that is a big regret of mine, that I looked at their first initial call to me as burdensome rather than helpful, because that could have helped me out.